How's it going, everyone? This is Mike. I'd like to do a little bit of a what I've been watching video and also an update, show you what I got in the mail yesterday. So, all right, let's start off with two things that I bought from the Criterion Collection at Barnes& and Noble. Last week, I must have had money burning a hole in my pocket or something because I went out and paid full price for a couple of Criterions, right? So let me show you what they are. The first one is Red River. Red River from 1948, directed by Howard Hawks, starring John Wayne, Montgomery Clift. I'd never seen this before. I've watched documentaries that talked about it, and I knew a little bit about the film just from things that I have read, but it's one of the best westerns I've ever seen, and very, very different, really, because it dared to show the dark side of the John Wayne persona. I think this is the first film that he made where he wasn't just always the eternal good guy, and he showed the dark side of his character. Great portrayal. Montgomery Clift was wonderful in this film. I haven't seen that many of Montgomery Clift's movies, and now I want to see a lot more. I've only seen him in maybe 3 or 4 things over the years, and I'd like to see more of what he did when he was at his peak. And I think this was the first film that really gave him a breakthrough and made him a star. Great supporting cast: Walter Brennan, Joanne Drew, Colleen Gray, John Ireland. Just a lot of Western hero types, and just a beautiful film. Very, very different. I was surprised. I was really surprised at how good it was. And the next Criterion that I bought is The Great Dictator, starring Charlie Chaplin, Paulette Goddard, and of course written and directed by Chaplin as well. I had no idea. I had never seen this. Again, I had just seen a few small segments of it and knew something about it. I knew that it was making fun of Adolf Hitler and all that stuff, but I had no idea how good it was. It absolutely blew me away. At the end of it, I was just weeping. I mean, it was so beautiful. So all I can say is that this is a masterpiece, and this is something I will watch again and again and again. And only the second film of Chaplin's that I've ever seen. The other film that I've seen is Modern Times, which of course he made 4 years before this, and it was a silent film. Well, as far as the dialogue, it was still silent, but it had a soundtrack. And in this one, we actually get to hear Charlie talk for the first time, and he does talk, and he gets his point across. You almost feel guilty for laughing at the comedy in this. The comedy is so incredible, physical comedy as well as the dialogue. It's just what's the name of the character he plays, the making fun of Hitler? I'll probably get it wrong unless I read it. Adnoid Hinkle, Der Fui of Tomania, and his perfect foil, Jack Oakey, a great comedian from the 1930s and 40s. Jack Oakey making fun of Benito Mussolini as Benzino Napoloni of Bacteria. I mean, it's just brilliant stuff, you know. It was very brave of Chaplin to do this in the first place in 1940. You've got to be kidding me. And there's nothing funny about the Nazis, nothing funny about their persecution of the Jews. And Chaplin takes it on head on with humor, but also a lot of drama as well. And it's just incredible. Paulette Goddard, who was his wife at the time and had also co-starred with him in Modern Times, plays pretty much the same kind of role, but this time you get to hear her voice. She's one of my favorite actresses from the 1940s. I just absolutely love her, and it's such a pleasure to see her at the peak of her beauty and her talent. And so she plays the same kind of character, although now she's a poor Jewish girl living in the ghetto in Berlin and suffering the persecution. But the ending was just so wonderful, and the fact that Chaplin gave Paulette Goddard's character Hannah the final scene. You see her face, and she's looking up and telling people to listen. I'm telling you, I could start crying now just thinking about it. So I need to stop talking about it. But I absolutely love this, and now I want to know more and more about Chaplin. So, all right, the next thing I watched is a film called Sling Blade from the year, I think it was 1992, I believe. 1992, yeah. No, 1996, sorry. Billy Bob Thornton starred in it. as well as wrote it and directed it. I Again, something I'd never seen. I love this. This is a fantastic movie. I don't know how Billy Bob Thornton managed to transform his face like that. I mean, he must have worn all kinds of makeup and all kinds of things inside of his mouth and to make his body look different. I don't know how he did it, but he plays a man who is mentally retarded, who about 20 years earlier, when he was very, very young, killed his mother and a man that she was in the process of having sex with in their house. And he first killed the man because he thought that he was attacking his mother. But then he realized that his mother was doing this because she wanted to do it, so he killed her as well. Anyway, so after 20 odd years in an asylum, he's released. He's considered to be well. So he goes back to the community where he used to live, and he tries to establish in his own kind of, very limited way, with a lot of help from people. He gets a job, and he finds a place to live, and he starts finding a life, but then things just get ugly, and he finds that his past is catching up with him. And it was amazing. I just thought it was an amazingly well acted and well written film. John Ritter is in it. Dwight Yoakam is in it. Very good performance by Dwight Yoakam. I just can't say enough good things about it. I was very, very surprised by this. Billy Bob Thornton is another modern actor that I admire very much. Next up is a film, and I think this was 1992, from Robert Altman, The Player. Something I've had sitting on my shelf for about 3 or 4 years. Another one of my Big Lots $3 specials, and I never watched it until now. I just totally blindsided. This was a month for surprises. I had a lot of very pleasant surprises, mostly with the films that I watched. Tim Robbins plays a high-powered Hollywood executive named is it Griffin Mill, who is having trouble with keeping his job. He thinks he's going to be replaced by somebody who's younger, so he's kind of desperate to prove himself. And he finds himself being stalked by a wannabe writer played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who he once contacted. They were in contact, and he said, I will get back to you, and he never did. So supposedly this guy, he traces down this guy who has been sending him notes and threatening to kill him. And the film is not at all what I expected when I started watching it, because it seemed to have this kind of satirical, kind of dry humor look at Hollywood and the people who populate it. And it was all about a Hollywood studio where everybody's constantly talking about movies and making deals and coming up with story ideas, most of them ridiculous. And every once in a while you see brief appearances by Hollywood stars. They just kind of show up in restaurants. People like Angelica Houston, John Cusack, Malcolm McDowell, Cher, Gary Busey, all kinds of people. Seymour Cassell. They're just kind of populated in this movie at different times. So it gives an air of reality about it. You also see Julia Roberts, you see Lily Tomlin, you see Scott Glenn, and some of it's very funny. But it takes a very dark and dramatic turn, which I was not expecting. And this one is very, very well written and well constructed film. This was Tim Robbins when he was much younger and much thinner and much healthier looking, and very good film, very good performance. Okay, here's something that is out of character for me, because as the people who know me realize, I've talked about how I don't get into action films. I just don't care about watching them. But I picked this up for $3, and I thought, what the hell? This is Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis, from 1988. Finally got around to watching this, and you know what? I absolutely loved it. I don't like the violence and all that. I really don't. But it was an exciting film. It was well done from start to finish. And Bruce Willis is a great heroic actor. He's a great hero, and I would like to see more of him as well. We also have Alan Rickman. Great performance by Alan Rickman, who recently passed away, of course. Bonnie Bedelia is in it, playing a very good, strong female character. Well, what else could she play? She's a female. But who else is in this? Somebody else I wanted to mention. I can't think of who it was now. Anyway, it's a great film. I was really amazed. And you know what? I don't think I ever have to see another action film for the rest of my life because it's all here. How could you possibly improve on something like this? This is a very exciting and very well done film. And I understand there were, about 25 sequels? Maybe I'll see some of those. I don't know. That brings us down to this thing, No Country for Old Men by the Coen brothers, starring, among other people, Tommy Lee Jones, Josh Brolin, Woody Harrelson, Javier Bardem. Okay, another first watch. Something else I picked up for $3 and was sitting on the shelf for quite a while. So I was beginning to feel guilty that I had this Coen brothers film on the shelf that I had never watched, and I knew it was an Academy Award-winning film. 4 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, and Best Writing. So I thought, well, there's so many things by the Coen brothers that I have liked, but this one, not so much. I really didn't care for this. I was surprised that it was such an award-winning film, quite frankly. I thought that the story was weak. I thought that the characters were very poorly drawn up for the most part, and very overly stereotypical and not... I mean, if you compare this with the kind of writing and the kind of characters you have in Sling Blade, which is pretty much the same part of the country. I mean, everybody likes to make fun of people in the South and the way they sound and the kind of culture they have down there. But this one had very well drawn up characters. A lot of people that were likable, some that were not so likable, but they were all, three-dimensional. And in this one, I felt, and maybe that's what they were trying to shoot for, but I don't know, I just didn't get it. There were some good things in it. I think I like Josh Brolin very much, and I always liked Tommy Lee Jones, although I don't think that he was that good in this one. Woody Harrelson was very good. So, I don't know. But I may watch this again, because quite often when I watch a film the second time, I have a different opinion. But this one, to me, the most lasting image I get from watching this movie was the scene where this crazed dog was chasing Josh Brolin through the desert, and the guy manages to shoot the dog at close range, right at the moment where the dog is just about to pounce on him and start killing him. And of course, we get to see every spurt of blood coming out of the dog. I mean, it's the Coen brothers showing us their tricks of showing ugliness and cruelty, and I don't know. To me, that's what stands out for me. But I will watch it again, and maybe I will feel differently. Okay, now getting to the films that I bought that came in the mail yesterday. I bought a couple of things from Kino Video, and one of them is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Yeah, that's right. I keep getting the title wrong. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which is a vampire film set in Iran. Okay, it wasn't made in Iran. It was actually made in this country, but it was made by a first-time, I believe, Iranian director named Anna Lily Amrapour, and it's a gorgeous black and white film, which adds a whole new dimension to the vampire genre, the vampire legend. I mean, who knew that vampires sometimes rode on skateboards? I mean, it's an amazingly beautiful and creative film, choking with atmosphere. I saw this when it first came out. It was 2014, and very, very impressed by it. Haven't seen it since, so now that I have it in my possession, I need to watch it again. And just the vampire is a young woman who walks around wearing this long cape. Well, kind of looks like what she does in this drawing. This long cape that covers her hair, which could pass for Islamic clothing, but she also kind of resembles Gloria Holden in the first scene from Dracula's Daughter, if you remember that image. So that's what I kind of thought of when I saw this. But it takes the whole vampire legend in several different directions, and very worthwhile. If you haven't seen this, you should check it out. It also comes out on Blu-ray, but I thought I would save a few bucks and buy the DVD. And finally, I sent away for this Canadian horror film from 1961 called The Mask. The Mask, which has always been kind of obscure. And I'm so glad that Kino Video remastered this and is putting it out. This is a DVD. They also have a 3D version, which unfortunately for me, I think it said you need to have either a 3D television or a 3D Blu-ray player to play it. So, but anyway, this film has certain parts where it does have 3D, and when the voice, the thing is, there's this hideous mask. Is there a picture of the mask? Yeah, there is a picture of the mask on the back here. This ancient tribal mask that has some kind of supernatural power that when somebody puts it on, they get visions of another hideous world, a frightening, scary world with ugly imagery. And whenever the person inside the film is about to put on the mask, a voice comes out and says, "Put the mask on now," which is our signal to put this on, right? These little 3D glasses, and watch the 3D sequences in the film. This is called a magic mystic mask, right? So it's kind of like what they put in the DVDs for 13 Ghosts, pretty much the same thing. But I had another version of this film which came from, I think, cheesyflix.com, which wasn't a very good print, but they also had a pair of glasses, and I have that somewhere upstairs. But if any of you have not seen this, this was supposedly one of the first prominent films in the Canadian film industry. 1961, The Mask. It's in black and white, but the 3D sequences are tinted, a little bit of red, and it's very impressive. I just think it's one of the coolest horror films ever. So I've been trying to get people to buy this for years, and now it came from Kino Video, so go to Kino-Lorber.com and check this out, all right? So that's my little update, and right now I'm trying to make up my mind on whether I want to participate in Ryan Shadoway's 24-hour marathon. So I'm trying to make that decision, and other than that, I'm just doing nothing. So thanks for watching, folks. See you later. Where do I turn this off? Right here.